just want to welcome you all to a new form of a newsletter that we at the Fountain are just getting ready to produce, and this is the first one. They've asked me to kind of do a shout out. There's so much movement happening right now. There's so much in motion in regards to the response of a prophetic time that we're all standing in. And so rather than you reading more, we decided I would just kind of come and tell my stories once a month so you could really be a part of this movement that's going forward and stay informed about it. So for those that don't know me, I'm Jyoti. Some call me Jyoti Ma. I am the grandmother and founder of the Fountain for Natural Order of Our Existence, as well as a large international community called Kayamari. And out of that sprung the Center for Sacred Studies. So this is our prayer, and it's in motion, and it's walking for unification. And the Fountain itself is really working hard to really protect our sacred territories and the original people that care for those territories and return them to that original seat of care. That for us is what sacred economics is all about. For when the resources take care of the land and the territories and they protect and care for those original people, then we come back to a foundation of reciprocity where all life is cared for and sacred. So let me just share with you a little bit about what's happening in June. I've just come off the road from almost a whole month in June, and I traveled with the Mother Earth Delegation of United Original Nations. Many of you may have heard of that work that's going on. We have 28 delegates from around the world, and 4 of those are youth ambassadors. So we have a strong, strong alliance that is growing and deepening its roots with all the steps that we're taking towards listening to Mother Earth and the direction she's given us and walking aligned with that direction informing us. So let me back up then, because the end of May, the beginning of June, we flew to Sweden. There were several of the Mother Earth delegation that flowed along with me and some of our team from the Fountain. And we would first meet there to go up north to the Sami territory and be received and welcomed into territory by them, and had a beautiful day and a half, really with the young people that are reigniting an organization there to really stand up for Mother Earth and give her voice, and to stand up for the Sami nation itself. Because if you haven't heard, up there in the North Country, the mining has gone on and on to such a point that some of the last elders have been asked to leave their homes after many generations, and they just tore their homes down in order to take care of mining. So it was quite appropriate to learn of all this and to be there with them during this time. We wanted to stand with them during this time and give them strength for that voice to be heard. Some of them followed us, and we flowed down into Stockholm, where we met and had a meeting at the Parliament, where some of the Sami elders joined us, along with Cardinal Aberellis, Bishop Charles, and other representatives of the Catholic Church there, along with one of the youth that's part of our delegation of the Mother Earth delegation, Shea. She's Mindahi Beseta's daughter. He was there also. And she really opened up by sharing what the youth were needing us to hear. And she's on fire, and our youth are so clear in what they carry and the voice of this Mother Earth, and what would help us come back to a restored state of relationship and with Mother Earth herself, and what we can do to respond to these critical times that we're in. We had some amazing things that were shared with us during this meeting. We had been invited by the Green Party of the Swedish Parliament, and so they had members that were present as well as our team. And Cardinal Arborellis told us that when the Pope plans to go to Canada to really stand with our original people there, because many of you may have heard that there were some bodies of children that were found recently. And it really exemplified what a bad seed had been planted in the late 1400s, when letters were sent out by the Pope then to those that were going into these countries, that when they met with some of these people, they were less than human, and that they needed to bring them into the church. They needed to let go of their language and their cultures and their ways. And if they wouldn't do so, then just kill them and take their lands. And that's what started acquisition of this Mother Earth. And so that bad seed there is those letters were called the Papal Bulls. And for generations, our original people have been going to the Vatican and making trips and journeys over there to get them to rescind the Papal Bulls, because they're literally being used right now in the courts in this United States to take native lands. So we're told that when he goes there, that this will be a time when the Pope recognizes that moment that went wrong in history and will rescind the Papal Bulls, will put an end to this horrendous history that unfolded from that moment when that seed was planted. So hold your prayers that this is exactly what will unfold in just about a week and a half. After the Parliament, we flowed into what was called 50 plus Stockholm. And this was a gathering that 50 years ago, there was a gathering of the UN and other organizations and NGOs and other nations to make a plan for how to take care of our environment. So 50 years later, they came to look to see, and as you can tell, we didn't quite get it right, did we? There are a lot of missteps we've taken. We've gone to sleep and gone unconscious with the care of this earth. And she's beginning to really shout out loudly to us about that. So the Mother Earth relatives were there. Those original people that brought the message of what she's needing right now, what we must pay attention to, what we must do to respond to climate change and those symptoms of a time, an ending time that she's in, so that we can move to what the prophecies call the new dawn. And the new dawn is spoken about in many prophecies by many of our original people around the planet, but particularly by the eagle condor prophecy. And that prophecy, as the Kogi told us in 2013, that the ending would fall in the beginning in 2026, and that that beginning would be carried out by those individuals and organizations that were based on original principles of reciprocity, collaboration, heart, unity, and all life is sacred. So they said it was important to pay attention to the ending as it fell down, so we stay informed, but to stay focused on that which was breaking through. And so we began to explore in many of the meetings that we were in during 50 plus about that message and how to respond to these times and how to begin to focus on that which was breaking through into the new dawn. So that was 50 plus. And then I took a journey up with the Mother Earth delegation that was there with us to our new center. A new Kayamari center is opened just outside of Stockholm in a little town called Norra. And we've just opened it. It's 1 year old now. So I'm thanking those that had this good thought and put it in motion. And so the Mother Earth delegation got to go there and meet some of our community and spend the night and share a lot of wonderful stories. We all rested into this moment and had a lot of joy in our hearts as we started to travel home in the 4 directions. I went on to Prague because we have a community there, Kayamari community there, that's 23 years old this year. So I wanted to stand with them because it wasn't so long ago that Russia occupied their world. And so with Russia and all that's going on with Ukraine, this community has stood up and is offering food and lodging and medical care and support to those coming from Ukraine. And certainly there are some of the old wounds and traumas that they have lived through during the occupation that are coming forward for cleansing and healing as well. So it was wonderful to sit in ceremony with them, to stand strong with them, and to remind them that the Mother has given us all the tools we need. We are prepared and we are ready for this moment. So let us stand firm in the present moment and open the doors to what we need to do to serve that moment. So I came back from Prague. I only had a few days at home, and then I took off for Colombia. You see, about 4 years ago, we were told that it was time for the fountain to have a staff. And that opened up a huge process that lasted for 4 years and has ended in 8 staff being prepared through many ceremonies. The elders have carried them in and out of ceremonies to the top of the mountains to have the masculine spirits bless them, to the valleys and lakes and waters to have the feminine spirits bless them. And they've sat with many momos and have opened themselves and really have moved into an empowered kind of space. And most recently, a couple of months ago, I was contacted by the Kogis that live at the top of the world. They live in a village that has never been touched by the West. It's still in its pure form. They had heard about the fountain and some of the work that we're doing to try to protect our sacred territories and to restore the original people to those territories. And to protect those cultures and languages, because the language of Earth are held by those original people, and it's got a code inside of it that unlocks our memories when we sit and listen to it and let it move through us, as does the Earth, as she moves through us in those moments of sharing. So they wanted us to come to the top of the world. They wanted our 8 staff. There are 4 for the women and 4 for the men. We called uncle at the beginning of the staff's kind of growing into who they were. And we were asked to get an elder there in Greenland to tell us what animal totems were there, because that spirit of Greenland watches over the eagle condor line. And it was the eagle and the polar bear and the whale and the spider for unification. So that made 4 of those masculine staffs with those totems and 4 feminine staffs for those totems. And then they started sending messages, and they said that they wanted to educate the awakening. And it was time the Mother Earth was wanting to send messages and instructions for this moment that we're in, and that the staff would help in the weaving of the new dawn, and the instructions that they would be sending to those staff holders would be to follow that instruction as the Earth needed in the different territories that each staff holder holds. And the staff holders are in India, up at the top in high mountains there, some of the Itobishmi that watch over and protect the tigers. We have a elder that's in Greenland, North America, Mexico, Ecuador. I think in Mexico. Did I say that one? Those are the staff holders, and they come from the Mother Earth delegation. So this new alliance with our staff has deepened the roots of our work together in a very strong way. And for that, I give thanks. So before I go any further, I just want to share with you the video that they prepared, because as one of their first messages that we sent out fully to the world, we were able to get it on the day of solstice, included in the World Unity Week And so hundreds of thousands of people got to see this message. But if you didn't get to see it, then let me share it with you now. So just give me a minute to pull it up. And this is at the top of the world. Please listen carefully to the instruction.
Jika ba akaday ko sila ka na nama ako'y nakakilip nama tayo ay wajwin ko ay tayo ka na kanggagaki dola ay na dola sa pangko akat tsaka ya ko sinapakan ka ako ba ay yini ay yini nami hanap ko na sa ikan ini negato pa sa kamaki sa ko ba siya napakan kung ka na habang nagiko sa gudyo ka ay ko na nahang kutugan ka na ay nazahay aduna nazgabang ka o totin ko nakasarang ki ang siya inki ay ko nakasani ko siya
So that tells you a little bit more about the story of the staff. And we've just entered into this part of its mystery. So I can't tell you much more than that because I don't want to get ahead of it. And I'm following something. That's the way I know. So the instruction, stay in the present moment, embrace what is brought to that present moment by the divine. And once it's integrated and embraced, then it takes you to the next moment. And that's the path, that's the rhythm that we're following right now. And so there were 5 of the staff holders that I was with at the top of the world, and we've received 3 that we will now be taking to them. So by the end of September, all staffs will be in their territories, and then the next level of instruction will be given to us. So I'll keep you informed as that unfolds. And hold strong prayers too, because we're creating land trust there to protect some of the territory of the Kogi and a way of life that is so needed for this time that we're in. So keep your prayers and your focus on that for us. It'll help a lot. The last piece that I want to leave you with is that we are now in the process of growing what is called the original principles protocol alignment. And we've just sent out word, and so I'm going to get some of the staff as they end this newsletter to you to maybe connect with the little video that we've created that explains what are original principles. How do we align with this protocol? How do we go into businesses and organizations and movements with those original principles, with the idea that we go in, we look at the culture, we work with those people that are heading up those initiatives. We begin to see how do we turn that company right side up so these original principles of generosity, collaboration, reciprocity, heart, unity, all life is sacred. How do we begin to cultivate that inside the culture of a company? How do we bring Mother Earth and her voice into the boardrooms of our companies? There are many people awakening right now, and they're wanting to go there, but they're not sure how. So we're doing a shout out for some of the companies or organizations or initiatives that are ready for such work, that want to be a part of the designing of this work. And so we started a crowdfunder and a way of growing through that crowdfunding, not just the resources that are needed for us to develop this training and get it out next year, but also to deepen a community and an ecosystem of like-minded individuals and organizations that can converge and make a response to this time that we're in. So we don't get lost in what's falling down, and we become that which is breaking through. So you have a blessed day, and I'll see you next month and share a little bit more about what unfolded since the time we got together now. Blessings to you.